The cultural influence of the US, again, is, I think, potentially very, very powerful. The one thing that is pretty clear, it seems to me, is that the basic assumption of most Americans in my lifetime, indeed most Westerners, that the democratic model based on individualism, a market economy of some kind, and a democratic political culture retains extraordinary attractiveness in the world, and there is no serious ideological rival, in my view. And I think the events in Europe in the late 80s and early 90s, again in the Arab world today, in Russia now, in China in addition, indicate that that cultural influence, that broad set of values remains extraordinarily potent. My view on this throughout my entire lifetime has always been that as long as we retain our fidelity to these fundamental values, they will retain their influence on the world. Of course, the more hypocritical we are about it, and not infrequently we've been very hypocritical about it, the greater the danger that the values will retain their potency, but our influence will be seen as malign. And that's a big set of choices for the United States in relationship to the world. And that, of course, links to my next and closely related phenomenon aspect, the attraction of the US political model, by which I mean the model of democratic political discourse. There's no great secret that a lot of people around the world look at China and think, these guys know, as in the famous quotation about Mussolini, how to make the trains run on time. I've always taken the view that in the long run, democracy is the most effective system, but the long run at the moment looks rather long. I think there is every reason to expect, certainly compared to China, that the US has the capacity, again, if it wishes to retain and develop a working system of alliances built on reasonably deep trust with other countries. And this is not just Western countries, it will include many Asian countries. The most interesting future alliance by far, which I won't have enough time to discuss, but which I think has tremendous hope, though make great difficulty, is of course between the US and India. And that's and the ability of the US and India, both prickly countries very well aware of their present and future status, to retain such an alliance built on shared values is going to be, in my view, as important for the 21st century as the alliance between US and Europe was in the 20th. Provided the US maintains its innovative capacity in business and science and technology, in culture, the credibility of its political model, its political alliances, I think it has the capacity to remain the single most influential, no, not absolutely dominant shaper of the world system in the 21st century. So these are big provisos, but they are important ones.